Let's do it.
Warning, the Catholic Man Show contains high levels of manliness. If you think you may be too weak to withstand the manliness represented in the following program, please do yourself a favor and stop listening now. If you choose to continue in spite of this warning, if at any time you feel yourself overcome by the manliness, stop immediately and consult your closest medical professional. And now, for the not-so-fair, faint, or frilly, we present the Catholic Man Show.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We are on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. I am Adam Minahan, sitting here with my best bud, David Niles.
Yo.
And back by popular demand, we have our good friend, Andrew Pudewa from the IEW, Institute of Excellence in Writing, here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Welcome again, Andrew.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
It's going to be a lot of fun. This episode is going to be a little crazy. We have multiple beverages we're going to try. We're turning the show, in the second segment, we're going to turn it into a cooking show. Or at least we're going to be eating for the first time, I think.
Yeah, cooking is...
we're not actually cooking
anything.
But we're going to be eating. So
I can't wait.
So it's going to be a pretty fun episode. Now, Andrew, before we get going on what we normally get started on, we have a little bit of housekeeping to do.
Sure.
Dave, we are about to go to Arizona, Phoenix.
Yes.
Do you remember the dates off the hand?
First weekend in February.
Yes, the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
2nd and 3rd, Friday, Saturday. We're gonna be in the Phoenix. We're going to the.
Do I get any points or?
Yeah, 100 points for you.
You almost said $100.
Yeah, but I was quick to change that. But yeah, so we're gonna be in Phoenix. If you are listening from Phoenix, we'll be at the men's conference. We will be emceeing the event and giving a talk. So we're really excited about that. And then also the E6 men's conference. We will be at the 3rd weekend in February in Indiana. We will be doing a live show at that conference as well. So we're really excited if you're from Indiana. I think there's still tickets for the E6 Men's Conference. Also,
Jonathan Conrad, the Catholic woodworker, he'll be there.
Yeah. And the Phoenix Conference, I believe, still has a few tickets left to the Into the Breach Catholic Men's Conference.
Right on.
So we hope to see you there. If you're there, come find us. We'd love to hang out with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, in February, another thing that we're doing is we're switching to Patreon.
Yes.
We're launching our Patreon account.
Yes, I'm really glad you said that.
I get it. How many points is that? I mean, that's like a lot of points.
That's 200 points. You're now hitting 300 points now.
All right.
Show is very early.
I'm winning.
Yes. So we are going to Patreon at the beginning of February. We're switching over platforms. So that'll be something. We'll have more information on that.
Yeah, stand by.
Yes. So if this is your first time listening to the Catholic Man Show, we do 3 things every episode. We open, review, and enjoy a man beverage. We highlight a man gear. And we have a manly discussion. This evening, for only the 2nd time ever in the history of the Catholic Man Show, we're having a wine.
2nd time only?
Yes, only the 2nd time. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You checked that?
Yes.
Okay.
So this evening we're having Juggernaut.
Nay, 3rd time. The one from Rome by Andrew de Joseph.
Right.
And then the Meritage wine we did.
I don't remember
that was just recently. Yeah, we did it.
Oh, okay. Well, this one.
How many points does he get for that?
-50 there for correcting me.
Ooh.
You know what? I value those -50 more than the 300 I had before.
So we're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
So this is Juggernaut Hillside Cabernet. It's 2015. It's an interesting wine because it's an interesting cab. I had to look it up. I'm not a wine connoisseur, or what do they call them?
Winophile.
Winophile, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how you say it. I always said onophile, but winophile sounds.
Winophile.
That sounds right.
Well, Latin, study Latin.
Okay, yeah.
The label is actually really cool. You can see it right there on the beverage can. But so these grapes are grown on a side of a hill, on a side of a mountain. And it's very hard to grow grapes on the side of a mountain because it's rocky and it's not easy for the soil to...
Especially this particular mountain.
Right.
Yeah, maybe other mountains would be different. But, yeah.
Right. But so this one is... It's intentional, though, because what happens is because it's not... The soil's not didn't have a lot of nutrients. It's hard for the grapes to really grow. But what happens is the bushels of grapes are smaller than normal. And the grapes themselves are smaller than normal. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding, the grape skins are what gives the wine the flavor. And so what happens is, even though it's not as much, like you can't find as many like the bushels aren't as big, these grapes are much more robust and intense flavors. So you have a lot more. It's hard to make in mass quantities, but you have a lot more flavor in these grapes. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know anything about growing grapes, but it makes me think this is a wine Nietzsche would have liked. Because he said, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. So
right?
In the case of these grapes, if they survive the hostile environment, they're strong.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that comes from? Nietzsche said that?
Yes. I actually just learned that recently.
I thought it was like Kanye West or something.
No. I'm reading a book called The Coddling of the American Mind.
I've heard of this book.
And it's the three great lies.
Yeah.
If I can remember them all. The first great lie is always trust your feelings.
Oh, yeah.
The second great lie is, if it doesn't kill me, it makes me weaker. Contrast against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Microaggression.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it's all about, that book. And then the third one is, everyone is either good or bad. So the whole book is...
When the truth is, everyone's probably both.
Yeah, well, that's what we would observe if we're students of history and literature and ourselves and psychology and Jordan Peterson followers.
Or if we weren't just stupid.
But anyway, the book's very interesting. But that's where I learned the Nietzsche quote. So it's not like I'm actually a philosophy guy or anything.
Kanye West, he's ripping stuff off from guys.
I don't think it was him, was it?
Oh, I don't know. I knew it wasn't him.
I mean, how do you know Nietzsche didn't steal it from someone?
Maybe he did.
True.
Maybe that guy had like a really smart butler who was always like... just dropping wisdom on him, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have very much time left, but IEW, maybe brush up on what IEW is.
Oh, gosh. Well, it's the Institute for Excellence in Writing, and we are headquartered here in eastern Oklahoma. We have one office out in Locust Grove near the monastery, the Annunciation of Our Lady Clear Creek monks, you know. And we have another office just down the road here in Garnett in Bixby. And so we publish education curriculum, primarily pertaining to the arts of language, which would be listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking. And so it's my company with my wife. We're about to hit our 25th anniversary from when we actually did the very first seminar.
Wow.
And now we've got... I don't know, a few dozen employees. I'm not exactly sure how many myself. And,
that's somebody else's job, you know.
Many hundreds of thousands around the world that have used our products. And
excellent.
We especially love teaching writing. That's why we're excellent in writing. So any homeschool families or teachers or people out there wanting to improve their own writing, check us out at IEW.com.
And it's awesome. You go to YouTube and just type in Andrew Pudewa, because he has videos on there. You can get kind of a taste for what you do, and it's really awesome.
I also
highly
have
recommend
the Andrew Pudewa Illustrated Joke of the Month. Have you seen that one?
Ooh,
no, but I'm a big fan.
Video with a green screen, and so I tell a joke. It's usually kind of...
Do you just
like
leave the green screen?
No.
Because that would be funny.
We'll do that one time. No, but my team, they illustrate the thing, and so it's kind of amusing.
It is a dad joke? Is that...
Not always.
Okay.
But, I can not only do dad jokes, I can do granddad jokes, because, I have 11 grandchildren.
Nice. Which is that kind of just like dad jokes that fell out of style?
Maybe.
Yeah. Those could be even better. Except I might not get them.
So what are your thoughts on the wine? You like wine.
I do, and reds. I particularly prefer the reds. And it's very woody. Earthy.
It is aged in oak barrels.
Okay, well that comes through.
Uh-huh.
This would go well with a a rack of lamb, I would think.
Sure.
Might go well with some hot wings or something.
That sounds
And
tantalizing.
It might
Yes.
just go well with a Chesterton book.
Yes.
Pick up a
Or
little
even
bit
a
of orthodoxy.
Chesterton shirt. I mean, as long as you keep some distance between the two.
Between
you
the
know?
two, right? Yeah, absolutely. So my understanding is typically reds are more predominant in the winter months, the cooler months, and then the whites are more for the summer months. Is that accurate? Do you know?
I don't know.
That's
I've
kind
always-
of my
I've
understanding.
always thought reds are like for
Stout.
stouter feeling, like when you're eating beef,
Yeah.
lamb, burgers, if you pair wine with burgers, and whites are more like fish.
Yeah. Yeah, for Friday. You know, like
yeah,
Friday,
wine.
you know, if you're if you're looking for like a penance or something, you would
we
drink.
do white
Yeah.
instead of red.
So if I'm gonna drink wine, I'm always gonna drink a red wine if that's an option. But you know, I also drink stout beer in the summer. So like maybe I'm not a good person to base that off of.
Yeah. This wine tastes red to me.
You know
You
what
mean if you didn't see it, you'd figure that out.
figure
you
out.
know what I'm really picking up on
Some
in here is
grapes?
some grape.
Some
yeah,
grape?
I'm getting hints of grape in this particular beverage here.
And what about the legs? Aren't you supposed to like?
Oh yeah, you're supposed to do something with that.
Oh, look at those legs.
Look at those legs, baby.
Oh,
There's something. So when we get back, we're gonna jump into the man gear, which is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're on the Lord's team,
The winning side.
so raise your glass.
okay. Not going to you guys for wine advice.
The only thing is, like, I've got a bunch of stuff in mine.
I was just telling him some of the cork crumbled.
It's because they use real cork.
Yeah.
Most
and
wines
So I was
use
just telling him,
fake-
like, if you find
fake
it,
cork.
find a little bit. That's what it is.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. So
Could also be insect,
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
depending. Either way, it's
Lucky insect, I guess.
protein
I
or
mean,
fiber. You
If
wouldn't.
you
either
gotta
way.
die some way, you might as well.
I'm switching over though over to the beer for this segment.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, me too.
I just feel like that's
cork?
more apropos.
Is cork poisonous? Like if you drink,
No.
it's not gonna kill you, right?
Only
Whatever
in
it does,
very
it makes
large
you stronger.
quantities.
I'm gonna switch the set.
Okay.
I'm gonna set mine to avoid confusion. Right there.
Okay.
It's hard not
So
to
I just
sniff.
finished this book, and I'm really upset that no one has asked me to read this until like recently, because this is a phenomenal book.
You might not have been
I just heard of Pfeffer for
good at reading it
from
when you were younger.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Some books you get at the right time.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Like, up until recently, you probably would not have even given it a shot.
It's a phenomenal book. I think it's like a must read. What's going on with the beer? Where's that go?
Yeah, for me, Peeper is like one of those guys that if he said something, it's like, all right, well, that's the way it is.
Yes.
You know?
Dave, where did that beer
I
go?
don't know.
Did you move the beer?
I didn't know. I didn't move. Is that?
Oh no, I moved it.
Yeah.
Well, I remember trying to read Leisure, The Basis of Culture the
Yeah.
first time, and I got about through the first page. It's a tiny little book, I thought.
Yeah, it's
a
not
tiny
very
little
big.
book. I got through the first page and I just thought, stop. Think. What did I just read?
Uh huh.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I got to go read that again.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to me like 3 times before I actually turned the first page. So
Sorry, Adam. There were only 2 of these, so
Oh, okay.
We-
That's
you
okay.
can
can
use.
share.
You can use
I
that.
can use that. Okay.
Unroll it. It'll be bigger.
That's all right. No problem.
Maybe some chips.
I'll
for
just
the-
use your shirt.
If you're just gonna drip some sauce in there.
It's black, so it's probably fine.
Yeah.
are you going to put out the sauces?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Oh, I wanted to mention.
I don't know how much we can.
The importance of this.
The traveling hot sauce.
Yes.
Let me see that.
This is real man gear here.
Yes. No doubt.
It's like, don't worry. I've thought about it. I've come prepared. But it's just mine.
That's what you said for the flask.
Yeah.
so.
Will you give me that glass right there?
Tabasco sauce they have a really good business story.
Oh yeah, I've heard it.
And I don't know when this happened. So I think it was like in the 70s or whenever. But if it wasn't in the 70s, the time that it happened is not important. So they were, they had expanded the company a lot, but they had kind of peaked their sales. And were trying to figure out how to sell more Tabasco sauce. Mm-hmm. They hired this very expensive marketing firm, or like advisory firm, come in and analyze the process, everything, and spent all this money.
There you go, one.
And then the owner, his brother, I think it was his brother-in-law, said, "Why don't you make the hole bigger?" And then the marketing guys that they hired heard that and said, "That's
what it is.
That's brilliant. That's what you should do. Make the hole bigger." And it's like, what am I paying you guys? So anyway, they doubled the size of the hole, and then they immediately doubled their sales.
Because
Brilliant.
They're sitting there shaking it.
Right.
Yeah, no, it used to, and you think about it, it used to come out in like a laser beam. You know what I mean? And now it kind of comes out more of like a healthy squirt. You could give it 5 or 6. Now it's 2 or 3 to get what you need.
Okay, so how do we want to organize? How do we want to do this? Because we don't feel obligated to try all these.
Are
wings.
all of these pre hot sauced?
Yes. Well, I mean, I put.
Okay, I didn't know if there were some that were
no
neutral.
So it goes least hot to hottest.
There you go. This is a really good shot, guys. Look at that.
Oh, that is good. Least hot.
Next least.
To
Next
hottest.
most hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these are actually not hot at all. But they're the Pappy. It's this one right here. Mm-hmm. And it's just really good.
It's barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's barbecue with a little hot sauce. So it's like.
Well,
it's
it's
really
odd because it's kind of counterintuitive. These look the least.
Yeah.
The least.
That's
dangerous.
what I was gonna say.
The least flavored.
And it's only because I didn't add a lot to I didn't add a lot of the pepper
because you knew it was.
Because I knew it's really hot. So you can add more if you want, but I figured I didn't just
don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Well,
I already took some straight to the dome, Juan.
all right. Let's get going.
I survived.
Let's do this.
Hold on, I wanna get my plate.
Oh yeah. Okay, you can get your plate.
Well, we
Sorry.
can't start without you, so.
Yeah.
So which one
I just know that
This is
so
the hottest
this is the
one.
hottest, and this is the second hottest, and that's not really that hot to be honest with you. It's just a good mustard based hot sauce. That's just like Louisiana hot sauce. What that is.
You do know why buffalo wings are called buffalo?
No.
Save it for the show. Save for the show.
Oh.
That's I agree.
No spoilers.
I used to know.
I do not now know, nor have I ever known.
I'm big into no spoilers.
Well, a lot of people wonder, buffaloes don't have wings, so why buffalo wings?
Yeah.
I've heard the answer to this. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Think New York.
I know that a lot of them have tried to grow wings when they jumped off the cliff when they were being pursued by the Indians. They thought they had wings.
There just wasn't enough evolutionary time for that to occur.
Maybe if we jump, we can force it to happen.
All right.
Oh, I better grab one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is the one we all want to really go out.
You want to try that one last though, right? I mean, that's kind of like the last
you
one.
wanna
You
work-
want.
you wanna work up
nice
to it.
and deep black.
Yeah.
All right.
What are you gonna do
So
with
now's
your
the lower one,
hands?
right?
Dude, you better get a napkin.
Yeah, I agree with
Hey,
you.
I'll go get it. Yours there.
Okay.
We can tear this one in half.
There you go.
Okay.
Brilliant.
That'll work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That means you get to wipe twice. That's 2 times.
Okay.
You just need to wipe half as much as he.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm only wiping once. How many times are you gonna wipe?
I'm coming.
The manliness is killing me here.
Now the bottom one. Yeah, there you go. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan and our guest, Mr. Andrew Pudewa of the IEW. I just like I like the IEW.
I'm a big fan.
I like calling it the IEW too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you don't remember, we had an episode with Andrew not too long ago on imagination and literature.
Imagination and the moral.
Imagine.
No,
it was-
literature and the moral imagination.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. And you were the one who gave me the idea. You told me the last episode that you had a whiteboard that you put on by your kitchen table to teach your kids while we were eating dinner. And I've moved on to doing that. We've got a whiteboard. It's not as big, it's a smaller one, but I have small kids, so I don't have as much information yet.
Right.
We can graduate up to bigger and better ones.
Good. Well,
So, and it's going really well. Actually, it's really impressive that every time we sit down to eat, even not even dinner, like lunches or breakfast, they're like, "Can we do this?" I'm pointing. Okay, let's do it. So, they can say theological now.
So that's
My
why
5-year-old
that's why
can
you've
say
lost weight. You're not eating.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
eating at
okay,
all.
I see.
I'm just.
Well, let's eat now. So,
So this is the first thing that we're first time I think on the Catholic Mansion
Yeah,
that we're
so
doing.
the man gear for today is hot sauce, okay? Because eating hot sauce is kind of a manly thing. You know, it's kind of one of those things where you sit down at the table with your buddy and you see who can it's a competition. Men love competing.
it's true.
And this is we don't have sword fights anymore so no, we have hot sauce battles. It's the thing that people do.
My first competition was when I was 17. I was a busboy in a restaurant, and a lot of the other busboys that worked there were Mexicans, and there were jalapeno peppers.
Yeah.
And so I had, with a Mexican busboy comrade, a jalapeno pepper eating contest.
How'd it go?
I won.
Wow.
I paid the price later, but I won.
Yes.
I
No
won.
doubt. No doubt.
So this was your idea to have hot sauce as our man gear.
Yeah, well, I have found that hot sauce greatly enriches my life, and it is definitely a man thing. It's rare to find a woman who has the same appreciation for hot sauces.
Yeah, they're
and
out
hot
there,
peppers.
but like you said, it's in
rare.
fewer number, no doubt.
It's fewer number. And what inspired the idea of gear, because you really think of gear as a thing, like a knife or what do we do, a bookshelf.
Yeah.
But see, this little tiny bottle of Tabasco, this is man gear.
No doubt.
Because I travel with these. Because, you stay in those hotels that have those cardboard eggs and
Right.
awful biscuits, and you eat it because it's free. And I travel a lot in my business. So one year, my marketing director was talking about Christmas gifts. I said, I hate Christmas gifts. I don't want stuff. And I only want something edible. You know what I wish I had? And I described these 1 ounce or half ounce containers, 3.7 milliliters, 1/8 of an ounce. I said, I wish I had a whole case of these things. Then I could travel and take them on airplanes.
Yeah.
Because they're, under whatever 3
Whatever
ounce
the limit
container
is,
or
yeah.
whatever. So I just throw a handful of these in my suitcase, and wherever I go,
Yeah.
You're ready.
I
Because
got
those
Tabasco.
hotel eggs that you described, if you do have Tabasco sauce, very edible.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Without the Tabasco sauce, no amount of salt or pepper is really going to make them where you think, that was a good breakfast. You're going to say, that was a bad breakfast.
Yeah. I wish I hadn't eaten that.
Yeah.
And no one wants to say that.
I should have paid for a real breakfast.
So it is like gear, because I travel, I equip myself with those mini
With Tabasco sauce.
But at home, of course, there's so many more options as we have here.
Yes, we have a lot of options here. Some of them are border on the ridiculous.
Yeah, so the first one that I wanted to bring up, it's not technically actually a hot sauce because it's a kind of a blend of barbecue sauce and hot sauce, but it's from Pappy's. It's from Kentucky, and it's called White Lightning. All the love you'll ever need is what it says on the bottle. So it's Pappy's bourbon, Pappy Van Winkle bourbon. It's kind of I think collabed for this, and it's a delicious smoky barbecue.
Barbecue sauce.
So that's the first wing one that we have. The second wing one we have is the traditional hot sauce wing with the Tabasco sauce and butter. The third one we have on the wings is this. It's called
No, I think it's
that one.
colon cleaner.
Colon cleaner, yes. And it's more of a mustard-based hot sauce. It's I've had it. It's not as hot as what I was expecting it to be by the name. And then the last one that we have is called the bomb.
The bomb.
and it is very hot. It's a habanero based. It's called Ground Zero, the bomb Ground Zero. It has 321,900 Scoville units. Is that right? Yes.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. Yeah. And jalapenos are somewhere between 2,500 and 10,000.
Okay.
So this is roughly 32 times hotter than a jalapeno.
Hotter than
The hot side of a jalapeno.
on the very hottest side, yeah.
Right. So,
And I would just say I tried that.
Mm-hmm.
I put some on my finger, right on the tongue.
And what was the effect?
It was very hot, no doubt.
Okay, let me see
Although I will
if
say
I actually agree with you.
it was not the hottest thing that I'd ever had, and there's no way I would say that it was 32 times hotter than a jalapeno. Well, it was very hot. But I've had some jalapenos that I said, no, I've had a jalapeno that was this hot.
Well, they vary widely. The jalapenos, even habaneros.
yeah, that's a habanero based. And, so we switched over also to beer.
Because we were gonna-
wings and beer, like, we figured.
I don't think wine, well, I don't know. Maybe wine would quench.
It might, but this is a special beer.
This is, oh yeah, we didn't even say we're drinking Nursia beer.
This is an extremely special beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very good.
We're drinking the blonde because I thought that'll be a little bit better for the.
And this came all the way from
From the Abbey.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Abbey
no doubt.
in Nursia.
Yep. So now here in Oklahoma, you used to not be able to get it very well, but now that we changed the liquor laws, as of this last October, you can order it. They have an affiliate in California, it goes shipped to California and then to where you are. But
So what do you look for in a hot sauce, Dave?
okay, I look for a good level of heat. I'm not one of those people who like wants to all the time just burn my,
Esophagus?
yeah, exactly. Or clean out my colon. But I like a good constant level of heat. But I also want something that's got some flavor. There's some hot sauces out there that is just heat, not really much flavor, and kind of a gimmick hot sauce. To me, it's like I don't want to waste my time with
this one,
that.
which I have not opened yet.
Yeah,
It's called the Fiery Fool Hellfire. It says the hottest sauce in the world without extract. Now anybody could say that. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, how do you... Yeah.
But
But
I
what
have-
did
I have-
you think of the bomb?
The bomb is good.
It's hot.
It's right in there. I would probably put
You took it really well.
4 or 5 drops on a couple eggs.
Oh, man, I wouldn't do that much. That's way too much
and
for me.
with some cheese and some garlic
That'll-
and some green onions.
That made me start sweating just thinking about it. Is what that's going to do.
But drops.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Drops. Yeah,
It's-
it is.
it's hot.
It's penetrating. The great thing about a bottle like this, the great thing about this bottle is how many ounces? 4 ounces. Can't take it on an airplane. But, it's small. It'll last you a long time.
Yeah, because you're not going to use
Using
much of
a
that.
couple drops a day.
Yeah.
I did a little research some time ago about the health benefits of capsaicin.
Yes.
Do you know any of these?
I've heard that there are, but I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are.
Well, I did bring some notes.
Good.
Because I don't like to say things that might be wrong.
Yeah. I don't worry about that so much.
But I know when you're like older and more well known, maybe then you will. But one thing that I have strongly thought from my own experience, but seems to be verified with research, is the capsaicin does support the immune system. So
Really?
it's a blood purifier. Pepper is a blood purifier. So it supports the immune system, circulation, improves metabolism, speeds up your metabolism.
No kidding.
So sometimes it's helpful for weight gain. Weight loss.
Oh, could you hear that? Is that
You're
you
chomping
could hear that outside my mouth?
right there. Improves digestion. I think I've experienced that. It does evidently, at least in rats and mice, have this protection against cancer. Evidently, it activates certain cell receptors that reduce the risk of tumors. So in genetically prone to cancer mice, they find a reduction of tumors and increase of lifespan. When combined with ginseng and saffron, it says it can enhance sexual performance.
Really?
So
that's interesting.
You know what?
For
That
the
explains
married
a lot,
folks.
actually.
For the married folks, I mean, we could do some kind of study
Yeah.
there.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And it's also, of course, very high in vitamins. And the pepper enzyme, the lutins, will help protect your eyes from cataracts and
As long as you don't put it in your eye.
macular degeneration.
Yeah.
And that has happened. I have put hot sauce accidentally.
In
my eye.
rub your eye afterwards.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
a bad thing to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've done that too. And you think you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't.
You don't.
That's
You don't.
good.
Yeah.
I think that's why some of these extremes, like Hellfire, this one is called Reaper
That one,
Evil.
I just had that one. That one is good.
I love this one.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about. It has so much flavor.
Yeah, it's got the heat and the flavor.
Yeah.
Fuegobox.com. You can order a subscription to 3 hot sauces in a box and get it sent automatically.
Nice.
That's men gear.
Yeah.
So when we get back, we're going to jump into the topic, which is movies. In between segments, we're going to try a couple of these really hot ones, so we're like going to be sweating by the time we get back. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass.
Or your wings.
I'm glad I got that on.
The winning side.
I saw you were taking a huge bite, and I was like, I'm just going to commit to this.
Actually, I took not that one of the bomb. I think there's a few different the bombs. I took a bottle of that with me when I went to China and Russia last year
Yeah?
because I was a little concerned that I might not find good hot sauce in Russia. And we were going there first. And so I took it because I knew it'd be real hot. I wouldn't use it too fast. So when I got to China, I was in Sichuan area in Chengdu. And they're well known for their hot food.
Yeah.
And I was having dinner at this family, and they had some guests over for a Bible study kind of thing. And they're all like, "Oh, we eat this." I'm like, "Try this." I blew them away with the bomb. They're like, "Oh, that's hot."
Is that too much for that one?
So
No.
For the Reaper?
you can do it.
Okay. I'm not as big. I guess I'm not as tough as you guys are. Like, you guys are handling this way better
You
than
took
I
the
am.
bomb
Really
really
well.
good.
The first time I tried that last night with my dad, and we put like about as much as you put on your finger, but we put on a little piece of salami. And I wasn't crying, but I mean I was like, this is hot. This is hot.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. This monk sauce from Subiaco.
Oh, let me try it.
This is really flavorful. It's a habanero base. Someone sent me a bottle of that as a gift for Christmas. And I had it all. I used it all before Christmas. It was just really a beautiful balance.
That Reaper Evil. That Reaper's pretty hot.
It is hot.
It catches up with you.
You see the little diagram, the little picture is this knight, right? And he's sitting there holding a wing, and he's playing, and the table looks almost like a chessboard, and so he's sitting across from the Grim Reaper figure, and there he is trying to eat this stuff, and he's sweating.
Man, that is hot.
Yeah, this one sets in on you.
Yeah, man. Woo!
Unlike the bomb, which was like
First and then last. That's a
it builds.
Builds.
It keeps coming.
Yeah, it's like
like
it's
Shindo.
still coming.
I could have shed
Yeah. Which I like.
yeah. Yeah. No, my wife does not quite understand why I would eat something that would make me cry. Why would you do that to yourself? I have this talk. It's a very popular conference talk called "Teaching Boys and Other Kids Who Would Rather Be Making Forts All Day."
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard it, but I'll give you a copy if you're interested.
I don't know. I don't think I have heard it.
I have 2 boys, so I'm very interested.
Yeah, but one of the things that
Wow,
we
man, that
find
is
from
hot.
research is that boys actually enjoy pain. Because you watch boys at all ages, they'll hurt each other because it's fun.
Right. They'll play the game that involves like I'm gonna hurt you, and I know you're gonna hurt me, and let's do it
Right,
because we
and
both like it.
who's going to handle it the best, right?
Right.
So, the hot sauce here has, I think, more attraction to boys because
I'm good.
You know,
It's hot.
the pain. It stimulates the male brain somehow.
Well, we all want to test.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm very stimulated. I'm not willing to go to bed right now.
Very stimulated. I'm currently very stimulated. I'm not sure if I like it.
But
I am
going to
stimulated.
sleep. But going to sleep is not what I'm doing anytime soon.
Well, you know, we all want to test our metal.
Uh-huh.
You know, like it's like a mini crucible, and you want to put yourself through it. And
But you don't want to do it like the jackass guys on TV.
no,
You know,
No.
that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, because there comes a point of stupidity.
Right. But there is that desire to kind of see what you can experience.
Yeah,
Put
that
it
was
on wing.
that was experience right there.
Did you try that one yet?
I'm gonna do it on a wing this time.
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
lot.
that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Spread it
It's too
around.
late. It's too
yeah,
late
just
now.
commit to it.
Just
Juan.
spread it around. And
Yeah,
then, and
Juan's
then
here,
take a
by the
bite.
way, for people.
And someone asked on the feed there, is that a Patrick Coffin T-shirt
it
he's
is.
wearing?
Yes.
And that is
How
the
did
answer.
they
Yeah.
see it? When did they see it?
I don't know. I was looking
yeah.
at the
You might have seen it for like a
the
second.
feed on your phone.
Like I was just maybe like walking.
Margot's on point.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, Margot's always on
She
point.
would. She would.
Yeah,
Is
she's
she a regular
I'm just doing
watcher?
the whole thing.
she's a regular Catholic media consumer.
She probably saw the sleeve and identified it by the color of the shirt. Like, I know that RGB or RBG color.
I'm gonna eat the
that
whole
what it
wing
is?
at once. That way the meat kind of like balances out. The
Right.
spots on
Yeah,
it.
it should.
Do you know how to do that?
That was hot. That
Drew
Reaper
taught
one
me
was
how to
hot.
do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just grab it by the knob.
yeah, and you slide it out.
You know, there's that show. I forget what it's called, but where they eat wings
Uh-huh.
on the show. Have you seen this?
No, I don't watch
The
much
YouTube
TV.
show?
It's a YouTube show.
Yeah.
I forget
and
what
they're
it's called.
always. It's like they're eating like the hottest stuff
And
that there is.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, the bomb's on it, and so like it's just goes from, mild to hot, and they have just
Is
conversation.
that where you found out about it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sweating on my headphones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try the colon cleaner here.
Yeah, it's not hot. It's not, especially compared to everything else.
amazing with
But it
the
has a
wings.
good, nice mustard
Huh?
It's
mustard
way better
flavor.
with the wings.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure.
not hot.
Yeah, it is mustardy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Where is the colon cleaner? I'll try that one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, Juan, let's get going, man.
I want to wash my hands.
And garlic. I like.
Yeah, it's called
That
hot.
have-
Yeah, it's called Hot Ones. One of our. Yeah, it's called Hot Ones. And this guy has like.
That's my son-in-law.
Oh, what's up, Brandon?
I just texted him.
Oh,
the
you mean
link.
the guy who made the comment?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant. Oh, the guy who does that show. That's my
No,
son-in-law.
no, the guy who made the
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
So,
So he has this conversation, like he interviews like celebrities and stuff like that, and as the interview goes, they continue.
They
eating.
get and it gets hotter and hotter and
So
hotter.
you have these guys that are just like dying by the time they get to the seventh or eighth one, and this guy's just taking it like it. I mean,
He does.
He takes it like a
doesn't
champ.
flinch.
well, you do develop, I think,
yeah.
a certain immunity.
Yeah, I mean, sort of like drinking Lafroig.
Yeah, sure.
You learn to handle it.
Okay, let's get going. Let's talk about movies, because this is a topic that I'm interested in because
Because you're not very good at it.
I'm not very good. Yeah, that's, in all honesty, that's the truth. I've been burned too many times.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't have it like entertainment wise. I don't have a lot of entertainment time cut out. Juan's over here like,
He did Reaper Evil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a lot of
He
it.
did a
On
lot
one- on a wing,
one-
yeah.
Setting in on him right
About
now. Yeah.
6 drops in one big blob on one wing. Poor guy.
Okay, let's do it.
But so like I don't have like much time entertainment like that I carve out. So when
Right.
somebody says, "Hey, this is a good movie, go see it,"
Yeah.
and I waste 2.5 hours, 3 hours, I'm
you
like,
feel robbed.
yeah, I'm like, I can't get that time back.
Yeah.
And so I've almost like gotten to the point where I don't take very many people's recommendations. It's like I like John Wayne movies, and I know I like those. So
You know Anthony Esselin.
yeah,
So he said in his blog one time, he loves old movies.
Uh-huh.
He said pretty much every movie made before 1970 is better than any movie made after.
yeah.
Which I think
Because of
it's,
the code. They had the code.
yeah, there was a standard, there was a
made you-
moral responsibility that movie makers had.
It put extra, like, you had to tell the story. You had to be more creative in the way that you couldn't just show a love scene. You had to, like,
There's more artistic.
put it, like, into the you understood that.
Well, and now we get wowed with special effects and all of the
CGI stuff.
technical elements of movies, and I would say probably like anything, acting has improved.
Yeah.
Because it's an art, and
Sure.
the artists of today, musicians, actors, athletes, they're better than those who've gone before because they can stand on their shoulders.
Right.
But it was an interesting comment he made.
And you know what? They don't put any money into a good soundtrack anymore. You mean like Star Wars?
I'm still
You know,
feeling that
like,
Reaper.
a lot of movies from the 70s, 60s, 70s, some in the 80s, they had great sound. They hired
London
well-known
Philharmonic,
composers to come in, and they probably spent a lot of money on that.
Sure.
Right,
It
let's
had-
save this for the show.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
That was Juan telling you to shut up.
Shut up.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Just got done eating crazy hot sauce.
You're struggling a little
I'm
bit.
struggling. I'm
it's-
sweating a little
I can
bit.
tell, but
I'm good though.
you're
I'm
hanging
good.
in. You're hanging in.
Yeah. Juan's over there. He was buckled over just a minute ago after taking 6 Reaper. What was it called? Reaper something?
Reaper Evil.
Reaper Evil.
Yeah.
I love that hot sauce. That is some hot. I think that one got me more than the bomb did.
It's a different kind of.
Yeah, because it's a
impact.
gradual.
Maybe a mix together would be the ultimate power.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'll tell you where you can buy it.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you're listening on the radio or podcast, you can go to our YouTube and things like that and catch the in-between segments, which
Right. You can watch. Well, I don't know. You actually won't get to see Juan suffer. He's
still suffering over there.
Hey, Juan, would you offer it up for my sins?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Andrew, this is an interesting topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about movies. I'm glad that you suggested it because I'm not very good movie. Like I don't consume a lot of movies. I don't.
You used to.
I used to, but I particularly just have been burned so many times with people saying, "Hey, this is a good movie. Go watch it." I only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to entertainment,
Right.
And so if I go see a movie based on somebody telling me, a friend of mine that says, "Hey, go see this movie. It's really good," and I don't think it's very good, I'm like, I just wasted 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
that I
And
can't-
$25.
Yeah, and I can't get that
I took
back.
a date.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me so many times that's almost like, nope, I'm almost out with movies in general. But so let's talk about maybe the good foundation, a foundation to start, our launching point is, what is a good movie? What makes a movie good?
Well, I think there's one philosophy on the extreme is you can learn something from everything. Even completely dysfunctional, disordered, broken story,
Yeah.
you can learn something from that.
Yeah.
It has some value in some way.
Because even the disordered points to the ordered.
Exactly.
There's a reason why
Juan, hand me that
you don't
wine.
like it.
Yeah.
The reason you can say, "Oh, that was messed up for this reason."
Exactly.
And like the depraved, in some ways, teaches more about the way things should be because it's very obvious that all of a sudden something's wrong.
And that's why the dystopian literature, 1984, Brave New World, the dystopian movies,
1984.
Hunger Games.
Last night, my wife and I saw that movie on Netflix, and we said, "Let's watch it." We'd never read the book. Didn't know anything about. We only made it about 30 minutes before we turned. We said, "Okay, never mind." I did not realize.
Yeah. Well, it's an extreme disorderedness.
There's a lot of nudity. Like
And-
there's a scene with like she's not about to surely they're about to cut away, right?
Right.
They don't cut away.
Well, and
okay.
and it's an older movie too, so that makes it even more shocking. Right?
Yeah.
So there's that view. Then there's the view that you really, what is good and true and beautiful, it should be wholesome, and you shouldn't waste your time on anything that isn't really going to enrich your soul and your mind.
Yeah.
And of course, often, the balance, the wisdom is in the middle, and it's very hard to find
Chestertonian.
something flawless. Chesterton, one of my favorite quotes is, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing badly.
Yeah.
Or poorly,
I like that
or
quote
imperfectly. So, there can be value in a movie that's less than perfect. But the trick is how to think, right? And that's something we don't get taught in schools these days. And so we come at movies like it's good. I frequently would ask my children, why is it good? They couldn't answer because it was good. I mean, it just was. So how do we get deeper into that? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree because, okay, so you could say, oh, if there's nudity in a movie, I'm not going to see it. Okay, well, then you're not going to see Schindler's List, which is good. Okay, but I'm just saying, I point that out because there's a lot of nudity in it, but it's not the kind of nudity that you think. You know, it's dead, you know, you see a pile of dead bodies, you know, because they're naked, but that doesn't mean it's nudity, you know, like.
Right. Well, there's gratuitous types of nudity and gratuitous types of humor and violence that are just there, you know, to titillate. It's there as a voyeuristic thing. And then there's things that are intrinsic to the thing itself. You know, violence, I think, is a good example because you look at some of the truly great violent movies, the war movies, Band of Brothers, Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know if you saw that. Incredible.
That's the Mel Gibson movie, right?
Mel Gibson's Lisa Went. Incredible.
I need to see it.
Unbelievable violence. The Passion. I was thinking this afternoon about the movie To End All Wars, which is kind of based on a true story. And, you know, I can't watch movies like that with my wife because she just doesn't do well with violence. But without that level of violence, the movie would not have the same soul impacting effect.
Yes, exactly. So I think it comes down to, and it's hard to know, but what is the intent of some of the bad stuff in movies? Because you know, are they trying to elicit lust? You know,
yeah. I mean,
and if that's the case, then you don't need to waste your time on that because the thing is, there are so many movies. Even though you might say, "Oh, there's a lot of other good things in this movie," look, there are so many. Don't waste your time on a movie. I mean, that's intending to elicit lust in you.
Just watch a John Wayne movie. Almost every John Wayne movie is a great movie. In my opinion. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. But so we understand a little bit about the good. My question is, there's a principle called the principle of the integral good, and I can't remember if this is a Aquinas thing that he hashes out or not, but it's basically what Dave likes to call the dog poop in the brownie. If you have a whole pan of brownie and there's just a little bit of dog poop in there, no one wants to eat it. I just put
a little bit of dog poop in the brownies.
It's like you're not going to eat it.
Do you want one? You know,
it's like
you're going to say no.
Yeah, you don't want one, right? So you use that analogy and you use it for anything else, movies, for example. So if there is a scene that is a lustful scene, like we were talking about, where there's nudity and it's like this is far more graphic than what it should be, for the movie itself, is that something that we should watch? Yeah, I mean that's something that I personally struggle with. Like I've watched several series where it's like this is a really good series, this is a really great TV show series, but there's things in here that are not good.
Yeah, if you could just
take that out,
cut that part,
right? So how do you reconcile that?
Well, I think what David said is there's so many to choose from that you're never really forced to eat the brownies you don't want to eat.
Right. Because there's a mountain of brownies behind you and they're all different, so you can find some without dog poop in them.
And what's encouraging to me is looking at the last few decades of movie making, there are some stellar, distinctly Catholic movies, unapologetically out there, powerful Catholic movies that did well in the theaters. That people responded to, even non-Catholics, not even really knowing that it was such a distinctly Catholic movie, that are still revered today. One comes to mind is A Man for All Seasons. So that was a play that was written in 1960, and it was made into a movie in 1965. So I was 5 years old. So I didn't actually see it until I was older. But I remember as a child, this movie had a tremendous impact. It's the story, of course, of Sir St. Thomas More.
That's okay. I was trying to remember what this movie was. Yeah,
More. And it's a lot of the dialogue in the play came from historical record of his trials and things he wrote. And Bishop Barron
Yeah, he's a big
Word on
fan.
Fire.
Yeah.
He said he watched this movie every year growing up. He showed it to his students in seminary every year, and he scheduled a showing for the faculty at the seminary where he was every year, of course, on the feast day of St. Thomas More.
Yeah.
But this is a case where this movie was huge. I mean, it was the big Academy Award winner in its year. Everyone knew this movie. Why did it have this universal appeal? Because this was the story of one man standing for what was right against the world, even unto his death.
Against the king.
Against the king, who he loved. Against his country.
Yeah, that's an important part.
Yeah. And, he said, I die the king's good servant, but God's first. And when he, in that last speech, says, it is not, paraphrasing, of course, it is not lawful for the king or the parliament to take upon itself that which Jesus Christ himself gave to Peter and the seed of Peter. It's like you couldn't have a better short summation of the authority that Christ himself, while walking on earth, gave to establish the Catholic Church. And that was in the theaters. Millions and millions and millions and millions of people have seen that movie and heard those words. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this. A movie, last time we were talking about books, essentially. This time we're talking about movies. So it's kind of these are good bookends. If
Well
I can
played.
use an analogy. But you could, these days, I don't have to read a book because I went and saw the movie. Which typically is I know the book is always better, but a movie has a way of, I think, impacting a person in a much more visceral, because it's like, here's the whole story, boom, the highs and the lows through the whole, the story goes up and down. It's like this emotional roller coaster over this, packed in a short amount of time. You know what I mean?
Movies tend to have a much more emotional impact.
Yeah.
Books, I think, tend to have a much greater intellectual impact. Because if you think about it,
yeah,
a
I like
movie,
that.
you're done in an hour and a half, 2 hours. A book, you're going to spend 10, 12, 14 hours reading. That's going to take a lot more time.
Yeah, because you're invested in that. So the more things that you're invested in, the more you get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Typically.
Do you do show notes?
Yes.
Because I'll give you these movies that I wanted to talk about. I can't believe we're out of time.
Yeah, well, we got one more segment.
One more
Oh, we
segment.
do?
Yeah,
one more
okay, yeah.
segment.
Okay, great.
So we'll be right back. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Hey Juan, I think I would like to revisit this wine. Can you bring the carafe?
I'll change sets again.
That's
sets.
that's the fancy way of you don't
Can
say
I have
I would
some?
like some more wine.
You
I would like to revisit. Yeah, I would
the
like to
decanter's right down there, Juan.
revisit the
I'm just
wine.
getting-
Oh. You can leave it all in there. No. I mean, that'll take too much time. Just leave it on there.
Yeah, it's like the investment insurance guys who say, well, may I reach out to you again in a few months?
Yeah.
Can I pester you some more about this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you want to make sure that we go through for this last, because we got 12 minutes left.
Well, I just thought, there's some great Catholic movies.
Yeah,
we
I would love.
We do want to talk about those for sure.
Yeah.
And then,
and then you have
thank you, sir.
some good manly movies as well.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Okay, let's try to, maybe touch on.
Like
few
Braveheart
of-
is such an awesome movie, but it's like there's this one scene in it
Can you
that,
give me that beer?
like, it's too
Can I have that
bad.
beer?
Too bad. Okay,
Did you bring that?
there's a
Can I
lot
have
of movies that are like that where this whole
His mouth
movie
is
was
still burning.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so
It is.
good.
It is still burning.
My lips are burning. My mouth, not like my tongue, not so much, but my lips.
Your lips are burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burning. Oh.
Yeah.
there's a lot of movies that you think the whole movie was great. There's this one scene
Yeah.
that they threw in there because they want to get the R rating because our movies make more money than PG-13
Actually,
movies.
that's not true.
Oh, it's not.
Ah.
It's not.
PG-13 movies make more.
Oh, really?
In fact, the movie I just saw last night, they originally planned it to be an R movie, and they cut out the scenes.
And tell us again what movie that was.
The Upside.
The Upside. And
'Cause
you said it was really good.
Yeah, and the first thing I did is I went home and read the Wikipedia article on this movie and the story, and it was originally it's an American retelling of a French movie,
Thank
and
you.
And they cut it so that it would be PG-13 because technically I mean, the record is PG-13 movies make more money.
Okay, so I thought that used to be the case, in that like around 2005 it went to, and maybe it did go for a while
maybe
back
there's
to
a swing
R,
back.
and now it's come back.
Yeah,
but
it's funny, the the horror genre, the Chainsaw Massacre, they always lose money.
do they?
Yeah, so you wonder, why do they even make these things?
Right.
Is there some evil?
Have you
force?
seen? A guy asked if you'd seen Millions, the British film from a few years ago.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think that's about.
I haven't seen it, so
Is that
I haven't even heard
the
of
kid
it.
who gets the bag of money
I don't know.
falling off the train. That was a book. It was a.
I
young
actually
adult
saw a movie in the movie theater for the first time since. Do you remember The Letters? The movie The Letters. It's the Mother
About
Teresa.
Mother Teresa?
Yeah, the Mother Teresa.
Oh, I didn't see it,
show.
but I remember
Movie.
hearing it. Yeah.
I don't know. That probably came out 5 years ago.
No, because we were airing the music.
4 years. So 4 years ago.
I don't know.
3, 4, 5 years ago.
I think maybe 3.
But that was the last movie I had seen in theater up until this weekend. I saw my parents took the kiddos and us to see Mary Poppins movie.
I went. My wife really wanted to go, and I'm like, okay, I can do this for her. That's also part of a manly thing.
Yeah.
You go and you see Mary Poppins Returns because your wife wants to.
Yeah.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah.
I
The
thought
new
you
one.
meant that they were like.
No, they weren't
Re-showing
it's
Mary
the new one.
Poppins.
No,
It's
it's
with Emily Blunt and
Oh, how was it?
Painful.
it was.
It had some choreography. The best scene was a 90-some-year-old Dick Van Dyke
Dick Van Dyke, yeah,
dancing on the desk.
desk at the very end. Yeah.
He can dance?
Oh, dude, he's
Gosh, incredible.
He's very. For 93 years old, the man can still
That-
dance.
that
and
guy-
even like jump, like he jumped up on from a chair to a desk, like jumped.
Do you think?
So,
do you
Dave
think they
and I-
had like a
Dave and I-
harness on him or
No,
something?
no.
Well, you don't know. But
Dave and I.
I bet they did for liability. Like, yeah, Dick, he tried to jump on the desk, he fell and he died. Like,
Dave and I were trying to figure out at what point do you tell people like, what's the level
this
of?
is my thing.
That's what I just said. Dave and I were talking about this. I was
okay.
giving you credit.
Okay, I thought you said we were trying to figure it out. Like
No.
you helped me come up with this
No.
scale.
No,
that I
we were
invented.
talking about So his scale on if you were old or not is can you jump? Can you jump? Get both feet off the ground,
Even just a little bit.
even just a little
oh,
bit.
good. Then I'm not old yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, because as I've gotten older, I've realized that my opinion of old has changed
Oh
a
yeah,
lot.
it will continue to do
Yeah,
so.
and so I realized at some point that if all the old people I know, they are tethered to the earth. They cannot jump. I mean, obviously there's some exceptions, like you're in a wheelchair or something, but if you can jump even a little bit, you're not old.
Okay, so I just gotta jump every day till I die, and I'll never get old.
Boom, boom. That is irrefutable logic.
Okay, so we will kind of for this last segment kind of open it up and let you run.
We'll just mention a few more of these distinctly Catholic movies.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you can.
We'll go from there.
Did you see Brooklyn from a few years ago?
Never even heard. I did see Little Boy.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was a great.
Little Boy was
Tim,
good.
Tim Staples was in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who produced it, or Lee Severino, he's
Mm-hmm.
a Catholic homeschool dad in Southern California.
He also did
Bella.
Bella. I was going to
Yeah.
say beautiful.
And he did the butterfly effect. No, the butterfly circus.
Oh,
If
okay.
you remember, it's a short. You can watch it on YouTube. Butterfly.
I was going to say,
circus.
wow, the butterfly effect is a lot different. Of
No, no. The butterfly circus is about. It stars that guy who has no arms and no legs, the Australian guy.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember? You know what his name is? I don't know. He's
No.
a motivational speaker. He travels around the world. Yeah. He literally has no arms and no legs. Anyway, that was.
How does he travel?
Carefully.
People help him, but evidently he can walk a bit and swim and.
Okay, sweet.
But
He can swim?
No,
That.
he can't swim.
well,
You don't know.
I'm
He
not
can-
sure about
He can
that.
maybe swim. Maybe. You don't know.
If you understand what swimming is, like and
Maybe
how,
he can,
how it
Dude,
works.
I don't know, but like, maybe he can, okay? I
Well-
don't know. He can maybe like dolphin kick or something.
Well, anyway, in
I-
the, in the movie,
interesting.
just go watch.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to. I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
put him down or anything.
Watch
I
the
think he
movie.
can maybe swim.
That'd be
Anyway.
that'd be cool.
But no, the guys who did Bella, Little Boy, they really have a vision for Catholic filmmaking.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I can still feel the hot sauce
That's good.
like
Good.
going down.
Good. Maybe you'll get some chest hair.
Maybe. I don't know. All right, Juan, let's get going.
I think your mustache looks thicker.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I shaved right beforehand.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan and Andrew Pudewa. We've been talking about movies. We talked about some hot sauce. We've been drinking wine. We had a little beer. It's really been a very festive episode, I think.
A joyful.
Very joyful. So we're talking about movies. Andrew, there are some movies that I've seen in my life that I was like in the fog of that movie for several days. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about? And to me, that's when you think, what's a good movie? And there have been some movies where it wasn't maybe a good effect, and I kind of knew it and it kind of bothered me for a couple of days. But still, you could say it was an effective movie, even if it wasn't good, because it caused me to, I couldn't shake it. I was pondering it. I was thinking about it. And so anyway, that's what I really like in a movie is when I see it, it lingers with me.
Dave, you and I have talked about this before, but don't you think that poetry is interesting because the author wants to write just enough to where you understand what's the storyline, but gives you enough breathing room for you to insert your own personal experiences into that story.
And make it rhyme.
And and so I think maybe possibly.
Maybe.
And so I think
Ideally.
that movies are similar. Like you want to create a story that everybody can follow, but yet at the same time you can kind of put yourself in that situation, or kind of like what you said, like at least it kind of emotionally grabs you where you're affected.
It just affects you, yeah.
Well,
What do you think about that?
You can trace the whole discussion all the way back to Plato and Aristotle, right? So if you go all the way back, Plato basically said, well, this is not really a glass, this is just the form of a glass. The perfect glass exists perfectly, not materially, right? So this is just a semblance of perfection.
Okay.
And art is more one step removed from that. So a photo or a picture, a drawing of a glass, is one step further from the reality of glass. So art is intrinsically problematic because it draws us away from reality. Aristotle came back and then later said, no, there's a cathartic value because art helps us see something in a way that we don't necessarily perceive it. Therefore, we can grow by that.
Yes.
And then, you move forward 1,000 years, 1,500 years, you get into the medieval concept that art is to bring beauty into the world. And then you get into an Enlightenment period where, the best of art imitates nature, right? So you had all those beautiful types of realistic and nature-based paintings trying to capture the essence of something so that you could contemplate that, right? And then you get into the modern era where art isn't about capturing beauty and making goodness and truth. It's about expressing yourself.
Right.
So then art became
Worthless.
it's for its own sake, art for art's sake rather than art for God's sake. And I think, movie making, we can see that that's a similar thing. Prior to movies were dramas, and prior to dramas were essentially your Greek tragedies. Well, they were dramas. And then you had your theological plays, your medieval period, the harrowing of hell kind of thing. And then you had Shakespeare, who was kind of bringing that idea of comedy and history and bringing it to life and embedding truth in it. And then you had, of course, our tradition of movie making, which, as you mentioned in the previous segment, early on, people had kind of this responsibility. We're making a movie. It has to be good for the world, right? Now we're making a movie. It has to be good for us.
Yeah, we have to make money.
We have to sell it, and so we'll do anything to sell. And that's when you get into the gratuitous that we dislike.
Yeah.
So one definition of a great book that I heard is a great book is a book that you can read again and again and again and get more out of it each time. So you can know that a book is not a great book very quickly. Like you start reading it and you say, I'm not even going to finish this thing. You can't really know if a book is a great book until you've read it a second time. I think a movie is kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know, people say it's a great movie. My first question would be, would you watch it again? And why? What would you get out of watching it again? Well, you already know the plot story. You know what's going to happen. So
Yeah, especially a movie, because the whole like surprise, or it's gone.
it's gone.
You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So why would you watch it again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good question.
Because it enriched you.
Like
somehow.
nobody watches
And you-
Star Wars Episode 1 a second time. I mean, it's
unless you have children.
yeah.
And each of them gets old enough to see it for the first time, and then
You do it because it's like, I will watch this movie with you because you need to see it, because I know you want to see it. And
yeah.
there's a sweet lightsaber battle in it.
Yeah, and it's cultural literacy at this point.
Yeah.
But how about The Sound of Music? Right, now there's a movie I've watched many dozens of times
Yeah.
The
in my
hills
life.
are alive.
Why? And it's interesting. No one has ever attempted to remake that movie
It'd be terrible if they did.
Bad idea.
because it's too good.
Bad
It's
idea.
close to perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Would they solve the problem of Maria?
No.
Probably not.
It wouldn't.
every movie on my list.
Although they did redo it live with Carrie Underwood. They did like a live TV, like it was like a Broadway
Yeah.
on
But
TV.
not the full play.
No.
Was it?
No,
it was just
not the full
songs,
play.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh, they did the play. Yeah, there's the.
It wasn't the full.
Well,
because it's only like.
it's a
Anyway,
book, isn't
anyway.
it? Also a.
Well, it's from a
it's
book,
a play,
but it was
or
originally
something.
Broadway.
So even the movie is not everything that's in the Broadway play.
Right.
They did like the play. Carrie Underwood was
Maria.
Maria. Yes. And it was live on TV.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
Well, but my point would be that movie was a true classic in that
Yeah.
it would be very hard to improve on it. You could watch it again and again, and you get something out of it.
Or It's a Wonderful Life. That's kind of what I think about it.
Exactly. You can watch that movie every year.
So let's go through it because I don't think we have much time left, and I want to get at least a few movies.
Some of the distinctly awesome Catholic movies
Yes.
that weren't necessarily made by people who were trying to make a Catholic movie, but the story they chose. One of my favorites of all time is The Scarlet and the Black. Do you know this movie?
Never
No,
even heard
I
of
do
it.
not.
You've got to get it.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. You should find out. I'm sure you can get it if you want to.
Usually when it's like a movie you really want to see, it's not on Netflix.
Yeah, that's true. But you got Hulu, you got Amazon Prime, you got
The Scarlet and the Black.
The Scarlet and Black. So it's
Okay.
it's based on the true story of Father Hugh O'Flaherty, who was a Monsignor in the Vatican during World War II. And he's running basically this underground network of railroad to get Jews and captured people and people held by the Nazis out of occupied Italy. And Lieutenant Colonel Herbert Kepler is assigned. He's the chief of police for the SS, right? He's trying to get this guy. So it's Christopher Plummer is the SS officer, and Gregory Peck is Father O'Flaherty. And it's based on a true story. And I can't get into too many of the details, but it is just this incredible study of the personalities of these two men. And the acting is superb. And the fact that it's based on a true story, I find always very interesting.
I do like that too.
Yeah, me too.
And in the very end, the Nazi officer is sentenced to life in prison for he did some very awful things. And Father O'Flaherty visits him every month, and he ends up baptizing him, and he dies a Christian in prison.
Wow.
It's an awesome. That's in the after the movie part of the story. But that one, I think almost every version of Joan of Arc hits somewhere. There's something about Joan of Arc, and it's not a story that I don't know. I think, why does it appeal to a man? You know,
some 13-year-old girl
Yeah,
charging into battle. It's like,
why do the
weird.
noble women saints, Teresa of Lisieux, Mother Teresa, why do we respect that so much?
You know what? That's a good point. I have read them and not read many men of the man saints.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think we're inherently attracted to holiness.
Yeah, and women.
Well, I think especially
And
holiness.
women. Yeah.
They're well, yeah, that's a good point. But they're just they have this receptive to Christ, you know. So their spiritual life is so like rich.
So I particularly love the 1999 3-hour TV miniseries. With,
I think that one is on Formed,
Okay.
which if you go to St. Benedict, you have a free subscription to Formed.
Oh,
yeah.
Peter O'Toole plays the bad bishop, whatever his name is. The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Ooh, that movie got me.
That movie was too scary for Christians.
What got
and
me
it was
when
too
I
real
when I
for
looked
the
up,
horror,
because I knew it was based on
aficionados.
this true story. I was like, all right, let me see what's true. And then I looked up like what actually happened, and then that movie got me.
Yeah.
That's when I was in college.
It
Wasn't the man I was now.
is a powerful.
I needed
movie.
to be scared at that time.
And then I think probably my most favorite recent movie made by Catholics is Little Boy. You saw that,
yes.
right, Adam? And this little boy, his father goes off to war, and he's just devastated. And he hears this sermon, you know, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. And he hears this. So he goes to the priest, who, by the way, is Tom Wilkinson, who plays the same priest in The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yes,
Really
he does.
interesting. And he goes to him and says, how can I get this faith to move mountains? I want to bring my daddy back. And the priest says, oh, there's an ancient list. And he gives him a list of the 7 corporal works of mercy.
Yes.
And the whole movie is about this little boy trying to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and bury the dead.
Quick question: have you seen the remake of Cinderella?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I am still here.
Okay. Enough said.
Andrew, thanks so much. I'm going to try some of this hot sauce after the end of this episode because you brought some more.
On your eggs in the morning.
Yeah. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So raise your glass.
And cheers to Jesus. You didn't like Cinderella? Like the live
But
action?
He doesn't like. Did you go to the
I'm
Holy
not
Family?
sure. There have been too many Cinderellas.
Like.
Actually, when you said that, I thought you said Mary Poppins.
So your talk that you gave at Holy Family, it moved me from I had almost given up on a lot of entertainment in general as far as movies,
like fiction?
Yeah, fiction in general. To okay, I need to try to give it another chance. Like that's a pretty big jump for me.
Yeah.
From I'm out. Like I don't have time. That was my mindset before I listened to your talk. My mindset was there are plenty of really good theologians, philosophers, people who like know way more than I do and ever will. I'm interested in what they have to say. I'm learning. This is good. I don't have time to be messing with
Story time.
story time that could end up being just a waste of my time.
I'm going to take my headphones off.
Okay.
I think we can all do that.
All right.
We're all like having this like, yes, this
My ears are hotter than my tongue.
this loud conversation.
But it did change. Like it made me okay. Maybe there is some worth.
Yeah.
Some
You
value
know
to
what?
this.
My moment was, because I was very much in your place when I was 38 years old. Mm-hmm. I didn't read fiction.
Yeah.
What changed me was The Restoration of Christian Culture. by
And I
John
have that
Senior.
book.
I read that book, and it completely
I
transformed
haven't finished it.
my understanding of why literature is so important.
So did I tell you last time
So
that
I used to
about-
be that way.
I'm gonna open the
About-
fire.
Okay.
The only thing is that I came to the Theology on Tap that you came to,
Uh-huh.
and so I
It's
I
probably,
got
probably close to the
I
same
got
talk.
red pilled sooner than you did.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
The positive pressure inside the house.
Yeah.
That visual is still with me.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things from that talk that you gave that like are still stuck with me. And the point of education is to form the appetites.
Mm-hmm.
When you talked about that, it's just like, yeah, that totally makes sense.
Well, I didn't think of it, but that was
Yeah.
Theophan the Recluse.
Well, but still, I mean,
But it's
may-
something we
I
need
knew it
we
wasn't
need to
your
think
idea,
about. We
yeah.
need to hear about. Yeah, Deacon Bell gave a good homily at Peter and Paul this morning on technology.
Really?
Yeah, the impacts
See-
on the family.
So, I still struggle with this, and it's probably because I just never read very many. I did not read growing up. In fact, I was like one of those guys who were like,
you were the Cliff Notes.
yeah, I was like one of the. I prided myself on like I didn't read books. I just skimmed.
I used to do the same.
I didn't read.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I skimmed or I read Cliff Notes to get by.
I used to make jokes about like, look, I don't trust people who read books. What are you doing to that?
Yeah.
What are you doing to that book?
And so-
Be careful with that stuff.
That
That is theoretically the hottest sauce on the planet without extract.
Yeah.
Without extract.
without
Right.
extract.
What does it mean? What was the extract part mean?
Well, they take extract, like they take ghost pepper extract and make
They like
this stuff.
yeah.
One little vial of
That's good.
Yeah, dude, that's plenty. Like,
Start with that and then
That's all I
we'll
got.
see.
Didn't get very much.
okay, well, yeah, keep going. I don't mind seeing you suffer a little bit.
That's
So
more than I got. Right
yeah.
there.
So, like, I struggle. I tried, like, I still have not completed the.
no,
No.
not that killer.
I still have not completed the Hobbit.
Oh,
And you watched them. Oh no, you watched.
No, I watched the first Lord of the Rings.
You watched the Fellowship, and he didn't like it.
I mean, it's not that I didn't like it, but I like.
Except that you said you didn't like it.
Well, again, it goes back to everybody's like, you gotta watch this. It's the best. It's the best ever. And so you have this high expectation, and you watch it, and you're like, yeah, it was okay. It's like, yeah, it was okay, but and I even like have.
The Lord of the Rings, it's not about
Like,
like
I hate
just
even
one
talking
movie
about it
that's
because like
good.
everybody's gonna hate on me for it. Like I know that people are like struggling, like
I was gonna bring it up, but then
they want to stab me for doing it. But like I can't get past like how Tolkien just wants to write every depiction and every descriptive word ever. Like I don't care about, and this may be the microwave culture. Like I want things now. Like I don't care about what the color of this lily was as you passed by.
yeah, and you can see that with movies. Movies in the 50s and 60s. You'd have these big, long, like 90
scenic
second
shots, yeah.
scenic shot of
Yeah.
just the train and
Well,
the
even
mountain.
Yeah.
You would never get away with that in a movie today because people be like, okay, so what's the point? What does this do to contribute to the plot?
And you're, like, looking
What's the
around.
meaning of this? Otherwise,
That's
I can't,
me.
There's gotta be something hidden here. Like
Are we
This-
just
that's
what,
me.
looking at mountains?
Right.
Yeah. Tolkien's the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, Dickens, how do you do as Dickens?
Well, I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, he'll spend a page and a half just describing a staircase in a hallway.
Yeah. It's like I
Or
can't. I
Moby
can't.
Dick with the
Oh, yeah.
the sea.
I just can't do it. Like
No.
and
Is Moby Dick even a good book?
I have never finished it.
I mean, like I've heard from. Many
and you're
people that,
very
like,
well read, so if you haven't finished it, like
I don't know. Certainly,
I mean,
it
it's
stood
like-
the test of time.
I feel like you could have not written a book this big.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Couldn't you have told that story in a book that was still like
Hey
this
Dave,
big?
hey,
know?
you should like come over here and because
Well,
we're
I mean, the hot sauce.
okay. Well, they can't. No one can hear you, or they can't hear you very well.
I forget we're still streaming.
Yeah.
I can't comment on Moby Dick. I will say that my daughter, when she went to a
Which
Great
one?
Books,
Which one?
number 3.
Do I know number 3?
No, you never met her. But she went to a Great Books program in college, and
What is this?
she loved. That's a very gentle, super smoky.
Okay, this is all. That is,
That is-
this is me.
Gentle.
Gentle and smoky is.
Be gentle with me.
Yeah.
You could sip it. That's
This
how
is my name
sweet
all
is.
over it.
But you know, she came out of that program really able to say, I can appreciate books like Moby Dick. But I think that's because the hellfire got him.
That noise is one.
Because she had a good teacher, and I think that makes all the difference.
Totally.
If you
This is
had,
delicious.
if you had Joseph Pierce teaching you Tolkien,
It
that
would
would
really
be
change. It'd be a game changer.
completely different experience than
Sure.
just trying to read it on your own.
Sure.
With Dr. Brown, we're just going through what you were talking about, Plato and Aristotle.
Mm-hmm.
and how he talks about poetry being more important than history.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You try that one. That
he
was
says,
good.
as a matter of fact, poetry, Aristotle's intent of poetry was to write something that was an alternative, not history. Not here is this story that I'm just making sound really pretty and rhyme, but give you an alternative history,
Okay.
and that makes you wonder, and how that wonderness of the poetry gives you like an opportunity to better yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're
Dang
almost
it.
like
It's okay.
contemplating,
It's okay. This is
okay, I
not that
could have
bad.
done this or I could have done that better. So that poetry in the word itself builds you as a person.
Yes, and that's essentially fiction. That's the question you ask: is would I have done that? Could I have done that? Should I have done that? And you can ask that about history too.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said in that fairy tales talk, there's probably more fundamental truth in literature than history, because people who write history always have an agenda.
Uh-huh.
So you can believe certain facts, but they're always coming through a filter.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
has.
but, okay, so here's a question that I have, and it's not going to be articulated very well because I'm still grasping. I'm trying to figure this out. But this idea of wonder, and how it's beneficial, because I mean, Bishop Robert Barron talks a lot about, evangelizing with beauty and cultivating the wonder and all this stuff. But if I don't understand like principles and understand like ideas that are happening in real world, how do what good is the wonder? So I just feel like all the time that I don't understand enough about theology, reality, philosophy, just all these concrete understandings of life and like the, very important things within life. And if I don't understand all of that, what good is this wonder that it could be like I may not even be wondering the right things because I don't understand this other principle from the get-go. Does that make any sense at all? Like,
I like how you use that as a verb. I may not be wondering the right things. That's a really interesting usage. So before you said that, I was thinking about understanding as an intellectual act. Wonder is an intuitive act. What did Senior talk about? Stargazing. Ballroom dancing.
I'm eating this.
but you don't understand the beauty of stargazing unless you understand that there's a creator.
But isn't perhaps the opposite true?
That's what I was gonna say
come
this whole
to a
time.
greater understanding that there is a creator because of stargazing.
I wonder if you can even understand the theological principles you seek to understand if you have not first wondered at whether or not they exist. Or
Well, maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe that's what it is.
No,
because like I could see it. I could sit there and stargaze.
no, I
and
think
be like,
he really needs to consider that.
No, I think that I believe your generation and even mine to some degree, and certainly those younger than you, are so cut off and disconnected from nature
Yes.
that they don't have the capacity for contemplation and the benefits that comes from. I
doing
grew
more?
up before
No.
there were mobile phones
I
or
think the
computers
way
or
it
internet.
I wish we could go back to
We
that.
had television, but television was very limited and controlled. I also spent a tremendous amount of time in nature, on a boat, climbing the hills, swimming in the water, underwater, roaming around. A lot of solitude too, and that's just irreplaceable. I can't imagine being who I am without that in my childhood. In fact, I actually, when I hit 50, I had this kind of realization.
That's way too much.
What is about to...
That's the bomb.
Well, he obviously loved it
Yeah,
because he's
do it.
going for more.
No, but he said not tried it plain. He only had the wing. and the wing was like he put a couple drops.
Yeah, he's gonna make a sandwich now.
He put a couple
Yeah.
drops.
Scrape some off.
No. Just do it. You'll be fine. Just do it.
It's a temporary effect.
Yeah.
It is.
It is temporary.
It is temporary.
But the two things from my childhood
Right.
that brought me, I think, through, very kind of rebellious, alternative, older teenage years, through a new agey thing, through an anger agnostic period into Christianity, was time in nature and fairy tales. Those two things were the implant in my soul. Because I didn't have the theology or philosophy, right? So, in any case, but I getting to the wonder thing, I don't think we can really understand what they're talking about anymore today,
Warning.
unless
The
we
Catholic
make
Man
some
Show
super
contains
heroic
high
effort
levels of
to do
manliness.
that.
Yeah, but okay. So let's go back to the analogy of the stargazing.
Right.
So if I was stargazing, like again, it would go back to, am I even wondering the right things? Because if I didn't know that there was a creator, and I'm just sitting there and I'm looking up at all these stars, I'm like, in my mind, I'd probably be like, yeah, this is really pretty. Like, I wonder what all this does. Like, but I would never come to the. I probably would never come to the understanding of there's a creator that has made all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. So is it a chicken and the egg kind of thing? Like, I don't know. Like, I just struggle with it because I just don't know if I'm like, I feel like that I'm wasting my time is really what that's what it comes down to, is like, I don't know if I'm getting anything really worthwhile out of this.
Well, that's a good question to ask, but I don't think a whole lot of people would go for a hike or sit on the top of a mountain or
But
sit on
I
the
love
beach
that.
and
I
stare
love
at the
doing that.
waves,
I love doing that.
or do that for a period of time and then say, well, that was sure a waste of time. I mean,
No one
would do that.
Right.
You can't identify the concrete value, but there's some kind of effect
Yeah.
on your soul, on your mind. It just tranquility and health. And the people who I think probably have the best chance of being connected with nature these days are actually people who garden.
I do that.
Do you do gardening?
Yeah, I'm a gardener.
My wife does. I mean,
My wife does it, and I've kind of always like, okay, that's not for me.
I have a pepper garden.
I
does have a
I
pepper
could be
garden.
persuaded to try it out. But if you read about it, it's huge advantages, and part of it is just you're outside there in close proximity, intimately thinking about, connected with life, creation.
Yeah. And it makes me practice patience. Every day you go and you look at the garden and it looks the same. Every day it looks the same, yet somehow it changes.
Yeah, you need to grow bamboo.
Is it fast?
Yeah, can grow like 18
Super
inches in one
fast.
day.
What?
Yeah, certain species
18
of bamboo.
inches in a day?
Yeah. That's what I read. I've never seen it, but
I do know that bamboo will, like, if you plant it, it can just destroy your land.
unless you want bamboo. You guys should do
Yeah,
a show
unless you
with
want-
with a gardening expert guy.
that would be very interesting.
Yeah, like
Do you know somebody?
Well, my son-in-law Joey, he runs a cattle operation out in Clear Creek, and he knows a lot about.
he is your son-in-law.
Yeah, Joey Lawless.
Joey Lawless is?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Not David Lawless.
Right,
but
Joey.
Yeah.
Joey. Isn't
But,
that David's brother?
David's younger
yeah,
brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean, both of those guys, either of them, but they've done a huge amount of study on permaculture.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're very good.
And I think Joey's more active now because he's running these cattle.
Yeah.
But they love to talk about permaculture. I mean, it's a possibility.
Okay, Andrew.
Another show you guys should do is music. Have you done one on music?
Yeah, I did one. So I did one when he didn't end up getting to come because he was like, his wife was having a baby that day. It was just
Oh,
like,
why would he do that to you?
I mean, like, priorities,
Look,
man.
I was going to come, but I asked my wife, just like you did.
And she said, "I
She
think
said
you
no.
should stay here."
I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
So there's a band called Rival Sons. They're
They're a rock and roll.
they're like a rock and roll band, kind of like classic rock-ish, Led Zeppelin-ish kind of
They're
sound.
very 70s 70s rock and roll, not today rock and roll.
Right. very classic rock sounding. But their drummer is like Catholic.
Benedictine Oblate Catholic.
No, Opus Dei.
Oh, Opus Dei?
Yeah, he's Opus.
Okay.
He's Opus Dei. If I wouldn't put it on the spot, I would have known. But like he's part of Opus Dei.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because they have different words for their people.
So anyway, he was in town, and I got a chance to interview him about music. Mm-hmm. And his family's all of guitarists and drummers, and so that was very interesting. But I agree, we should do another one. I don't think
we did another one with Marcel Brown.
Oh, perfect.
Oh yes, yeah,
that's the one I was thinking.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. This is super selfish of me, but I just got to. I want to get back to this because I want to love fiction. I want to get there. I'm just like, I feel like that I'm just like a baby, and it's like I'm just not there.
He's having failure to launch is what he's having.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, so should I just go back and like start reading like very elementary versions of fiction? Is that what I should do?
No.
That's what I'm doing. I'll tell you that.
Because like,
well, I wouldn't say elementary versions. You don't want to read abridged or anything. You want to read original. But maybe the best place is short stories.
okay, like
because-
Father Brown.
Yeah, Father Brown short stories. You could pick a Catholic author like Flannery O'Connor.
Mm-hmm.
She's got some very thought-provoking
chewing
short
in
Can you
Right.
still hear? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you can hear that.
As your kids get older, you're gonna fall into reading them,
Right.
fiction.
Right.
So you're gonna end up reading things like Pinocchio and
But the original ones are the ones to read. Like that's also something that I would have never done if I didn't hear your talk about how mutilated the Disney versions of these are.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wouldn't have known that without
Speaking
listening
of
to your
which,
talk.
if you have not seen the Cinderella,
I should.
you should definitely see it.
Okay,
Beautiful.
the newest one.
The newest one.
Okay.
Weird. I know. It is Saint Cinderella. Is the movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's not called that, but that's what it really
Okay,
is.
I will look for it because I didn't see it because I thought you said something else.
Yeah,
but
no.
I would watch it. I mean, it's interesting that they have to remake Cinderella every few years. I mean, this movie has been remade probably more than any other story.
Yeah. Well, it was. It's like Disney's going back and remaking live action. Like Lion King is about to come out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Live action. And it's
Technology just gets better and better.
Yeah, but I just like.
I'm not gonna watch Lion
Do you think Juan died? He left.
He could have died.
he bailed in the
I
room.
saw him when he left. He did not look
He did
good.
not look
He
good.
looked pretty
He
bad.
put the bomb on and took a bite.
These
He
hot
put a
sauces.
lot of that on.
Yeah, these hot sauces are not to mess
Poor
around
guy.
with.
Right.
These are very hot.
So maybe short stories because then
Okay.
you're not investing so much.
I think that's my problem. Is that again, it goes back to even with movies. Like I'm investing a lot of my time, and I don't feel like that I get out of it. Like when I read The Four Cardinal Virtues by Joseph Fieber,
You
I'm
get
like,
a lot out of it.
That is something that I like. Okay, that was very well worth my time.
How about audiobooks? Do you
I'm a
drive
very
at all?
big so that's the only time that I listen to like biographies, fiction.
But once again, he's listening to history, biographies.
Yeah. Well, I understand that.
But it's just like because you haven't got there. Like
Right, and again, I just
So,
feel like
Pamela
I feel
and
like
I-
I'm like a very I'm here and everybody else is up here.
No.
Like
No,
I
no,
feel
no,
very
no, don't feel that way.
Yeah,
because
but in other ways, you're here and everybody else down here. So
very
We all
probably
balance
not.
out.
Pamela and I we're reading books right now, and we both like realize that we do not have the reading experience that even a 12-year-old would have had 100 years ago.
yeah.
And so these books that were written 100 years ago or whatever, they're written for people expecting that, oh yes, you've read this and this and this and this and this, so you would be able to grasp these concepts. So we're going through John Senior's list, but we're starting at like the 10-year-old, the 10-year, and there's a lot of great books. We're reading Tom Sawyer right now, and I just started The Swiss Family Robinson on audiobook. Both of those have just been great so far. Because I know my level of literature, my intellectual, my literature intellectual level is low.
Stuff is low. Things and stuff are low.
My stuff is low. Yeah.
Well, but we're all deficient, and no matter how much you've read, you probably feel like, well, I haven't read much compared to all there is to read.
Right.
So,
But for Mark Twain writing this book, I have read less books than the boys that he was writing this book for.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's fine. I'm okay. Like, I just admit that. And
and move on.
I'm loving these books that we're reading. We read Robinson Crusoe. That was a mistake. We should not have done that. We both hated that book, and we finished it.
See, and that's another thing. Like, if I don't like the book, like if I
just stop.
I just
No, I don't do that.
cut.
No, I keep.
You keep going?
He goes through,
I keep reading.
I don't like. I
Because
give it
for me, it's like,
a solid chance.
I'm gonna check this book. Because I'm not coming back to this book. I'll tell you that. When I'm in the middle of it and I don't like it, I think I'm not coming back. I'm gonna finish it right now, and I'm never reading it again.
I'm like, this is wasting my time. I'm out.
I shouldn't do that. I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I applaud you for starting on the John Senior list, and starting with Tom Sawyer, and we just have a limited amount of time, and that's what you're up against. So
we started it actually at the IEW, not this last one, but the one before. And the first one we read was The Awakening of Miss Prim.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a delightful book.
Yeah.
In fact, I bought it for him. I don't think he's read it yet.
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, well.
But I do plan on
And,
doing
you know,
that.
it's,
that was a good one to start on because I want to be the guy in the wingback chair. You know, it's like, yes, make me that guy. And so, like, that was a good motivation for me to start, like, getting into all these books because, like, well, he's read them all and he knows them in Greek. For Pete's sake.
How do you actually become an educated person in a world that essentially doesn't value it?
Right.
You know, everything is about, it's all practical. So
and that's you.
That's me.
If
totally
this has
me.
absolute practical value right now,
I'm in.
I am in. But
think about what Pieper would say about
the leisure. I know, and I'm in the middle of leisure. His book on leisure. You know, so and I get that. So it's something that I'm trying. Again, I wouldn't be pushing you on this if I didn't want to be, be there.
Oh, read Prim. That. You
okay, Juan is still alive.
He's here.
He's back. So I got another question for you. How many books do you read a month?
Oh, not enough. I'm
the people who
totally
answer
distracted.
that. Yeah, but the people who answer that way read too much. Like read more than the normal people.
like it's probably 3. You probably read at least 3.
I do a lot of audiobooks and paper books. I tend to be more. I tend to do nonfiction. So audiobooks, I get
more
because
fiction.
I can't read that. I cannot read as fast as the narrator
Oh, really?
goes.
Some people don't like audiobooks because they read so much faster.
Yeah, I wish that was
like
my
slow
problem.
motion.
Yeah.
No, I'm a slow reader. I don't skim. I never learned to skim books. You know what I mean? So when I read,
You hear every word.
I am reading and like
Every word. Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
I was
there's
always
an upside
terrible
to that too,
on my Iowa tests. I always had the worst scores
because it took you
And
so long
because-
to read this stuff.
I got all the questions right, but I
You
didn't
never get-
finish.
yeah.
I never finished in the reading thing just because
Dude, your head is sweating. Your head is sweating.
my head was sweating. It's not sweating now.
So here's something that I've done that worked really well for me last year, and I'm doing it again this year. Is like I've created lists of like here's books that I want to make sure to read, and I guess it may be a psychological thing, but like if I have it on a list and like here's my game plan, then I seem to take care. Like it seems to happen more than if I just say I'm just going to try to read more this
Yeah,
year.
absolutely.
Do you have a list?
No, I just have piles.
Yeah. So you're like I mean I have.
A pile is a 1-up on a list because it's a physical. It's like
No.
a list is like a digital version of.
I think the list is superior because you have more control over it. You can plan it. You can determine this is what I want to do. I buy books so much faster than I read them.
Well, me too. I mean, look, I have this whole bookshelf right there, and I have books over there, and
Yeah, I just bought today. I was looking at these movies. This movie, To End All Wars, is based on this original book by Edwin Gordon called The Miracle of the River Bridge of Kwai or something. It's a true story about these Allied soldiers who were in the Japanese prison camp. And so I bought that, and I thought, I'm going to read that. And then about 5 minutes later, I was looking at the Scarlet Pimpernel, and I was looking at the Scarlet and the Black. That's based on the true story that was written out in a book called The Scarlet Pimpernel of the Vatican. I'm like, I've got to read that book too. So I just went back to Amazon. I ordered that book with free shipping. You know, you can just order them whenever you want.
Right.
And so now I got 2 books coming. I got 3 books piled up. I got all these other books people give me. So that's the problem with piles, is they just keep growing.
You never can check them off. I mean,
You know, but if you intentionally
real
say,
problem
okay,
is that
here's the books I'm
eventually
going to go for.
You have to try to get the one out on the bottom without like knocking the whole pile over. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like try to tip a little bit and yank. And
Well, at a certain point, you have to go into a box or on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, I'll tell you though, I think one of the things that's decreased my reading significantly is Words with Friends and Scrabble. You know, because it's very easy. You sit there, I got 5 minutes here. You just catch up on your words or Scrabble games.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at that total amount of time, and you think, well, that's a good educational game.
I kicked the habit.
Did you
I
really?
used to play Words with Friends a lot.
Yeah.
Then I moved on to Chess with Friends.
Chess was another one.
Chess, I do that one too.
Before I finally just went and got a chess.com account, which is way better.
Yeah.
Are you on chess.com?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look you up.
Okay.
Oh, me too.
All right. Well, let's play.
This is gonna be bad for my productivity right here.
How many books you do not finish a year?
I don't know. How many books do
You
I
don't
not
write this
finish?
down?
I mean, or a month.
I don't, you guys have me on a pedestal or something, honestly.
No, you.
I do not
No,
read.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely have you up.
I
definitely
do not read nearly as much as I should or could.
That's why I read multiple books at once.
Yeah, I do too.
Because that way I have a book in my car, I have a book in my office, I have a book at home. That way, anytime that I have opportunity to read, I have a book at least there available.
Yeah.
People sometimes hate on that. Like they're like, no, I only can read one book at a time. But for me, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't read near as much.
Yeah.
So I read 4 fiction books last year. That's it.
Awesome.
That's not awesome.
Well, that's about, 400% more than... Well,
most people.
Most Americans don't read one book in a year.
It's an infinite number more than I had read the year before.
Well, there you go. You're on a
So
beyond exponential
you're all
curve.
downhill from here,
Right,
bud.
which means this next year I'm going to read infinity number of books.
I listened to an NPR interview with a guy who said he planned this. He's going to read every Dickens novel in 1 year.
Can you do that?
Yeah, he did. He said he had to spend 4 to 6 hours a day reading every day for the whole year. But he made it through every single Dickens novel.
That's not fun.
No, but it was like a personal challenge. You know?
Right. It's the challenge.
But my problem is I just get an idea, I buy the book, and I keep buying books, and I
That's
read
what I
the
do.
book. Interesting book I'm reading right now, How to Be Unlucky by Joshua Gibbs. It's kind of about education and classical education, but it's kind of a collection of essays. I like books that are collections of essays.
Yeah, me too.
That's kind of my favorite. So then you read something, you feel like, okay, I'm finished. Take a break. Novels, that's for me. That's kind of, I can really get sucked into reading a novel and not doing other things. So
That's what I hated about Robinson Crusoe. There are no chapters.
it
It just keeps going and going, and you're just like, where do we stop? How do you know when to stop reading? Like it's sort of like eating chips and salsa. Like, how do you know when to stop? Like,
when the sauce is empty.
do you run
when
out,
the
or
hot
do you-
sauce
do you-
has burned you
or
up.
do you just die? I mean, like, how do you know when to stop eating?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Penrod. Read Penrod by Booth Tarkington.
Okay.
It's like a baptized Tom Sawyer.
Okay. I am really loving Tom Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I just read the episode where they come back from the island, or the chapter, which I'll just say it. They come back and they interrupt their own funeral. This was the best chapter of like anything I'd ever read. It was super fun. It was so funny, and it just
Dude, spoiler alert.
It's okay. It's so good.
It's only been out for how many years?
It's so good. Like if I had known that this is what in fact I did know what I was about to read, because when you get to the chapter before, you kind of know like what he's about to do, right? Yeah. So and it was absolutely hilarious. His writing and his insight into the mind of a little boy is so funny. Just the way, like, the things that they idolize, and just, oh man, I love it. It's a great book. I would definitely read it again.
Yeah, that's why everybody's been reading it for 150 years.
Yeah. Also, my wife read his book on Joan of Arc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you brought up, and she said that's one of the best books she's ever read.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you read? Have you read C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy?
No.
Yeah, that
David
might be,
Bates would be all about
that. Might be a good
a
place,
good one.
an easy place to start. Out of the Silent Planet.
I think I've only read like 3 books three or 4 books from C.S. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Between Narnia and Lord of the Rings.
Well, I never read Narnia as a kid, and I never actually even knew that it existed until I had kids that were old enough. And Genevieve read it again and again and again when she's like 6, 7, 8 years old. All she would do all day is just read Narnia. She'd finish the whole series and start again. And she just wanted to live there. But I never could really get into it. I have to say, I tried.
Do you think allegory is better for little children?
Well, I think allegory is valuable for everyone. I mean,
because that's like to me a critique of.
Well, that's one thing Tolkien didn't like about Lewis was it was kind of too obviously an allegory. But Jesus's stories were pretty obviously allegories too. So,
well, now I mean the apostles didn't grab it at the time. I mean, now it is when you read it and you're like, yeah, this is obviously what he's saying. But the apostles were.
That's true.
We're coming back to like, hey, what were you meaning here, man?
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, how long must I suffer you people?
Well, in the end, the 2 apostles, after he dies, they still don't know anything. He has to explain everything from the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like, how frustrated.
We've probably taken up more time than we bargained for.
I gotta go.
It's 10:22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that 11? Yeah.
It's been 11
o'clock.
Juan, will you finish the record button?
That left on the left bottom. No, left. There you go. Yes, right there.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There's 5 guys still with us. 5 saints in the making.
I'm very grateful for your time. Like, I could sit here and I would love to have conversations with you for as long as you'd be willing to have them with me, but